Good morning. The greatest danger which humanity faces is that a large section are destroying the Tselem Elokim, the divine image in which man was created. And Rashi says, what is the Tselem Elokim, in which man was created? Lahavin or lahashkim, to develop the higher understanding. The more that science progresses, the more scientists, whatever language they use, are recognizing that there's a mind behind the universe. All scientists admit it. Some call the mind of the universe, they call it God. Some give other names. The wisdom of nature. Otherwise they see there's wisdom. And human beings are given wisdom in all areas of life. That is the greatest power of human being. Wisdom, however, as it says in a number of verses in the Bible, in the Tanakh, Chachamim heim lehara. They are wise in doing evil. And one of the greatest moral teachers, he is the Mashgiach of the Bodki Yeshiva before the war. And he was tortured by the Nazis, beginning of the war, and was dying in a hospital. He quoted the Zayatotu, he's Neder Avon Kuczynski. In fact, he was the father-in-law of Rav Wolbe. Rav Wolbe was one of the partners in starting the yeshiva. He was one of the greatest Musa teachers of the previous generation. And his wife, still living, so it was her brother. No, it was her father's. It's the children, it's her father. And there's a record of what was he worried about. He said, the Nazis are destroying the divine image of human being. And that's what we see today. That the divine image is becoming lost. I mean, the animal nature, it's even an insult to the animals called animal nature, because it's much worse. Of the extremist elements that are very powerful today, they say the richest oil wells are found in Syria, and they've all been taken over by Daesh. And Daesh, I mean, what they did in Paris, they're threatening to do in Washington. The headlines today. To kill innocent people. And that's part of their major ambition. They're very proud of the fact that they destroyed the aeroplane, the Russian aeroplane in Sinai Desert. And really, this is one of the basic principles that we see. It says, Shafech dam ha'adam, ba'adam damo yishafech ki b'tselem elokim matzai ha'adam. Man is created in the divine image. So that humanity disappears. And here they're blaspheming by doing it in the name of God. So it's the most terrible situation which is the Gemara Ramadas. And we should know, unfortunately, with the enormous barrage of the mass media, these terrible obscenities and this inhuman violence is spreading. And that's people become dull to it, become accustomed to it. So when we live in such a time, I think we have the extra duty to preserve the Tzelem Elokim as much as possible, and to use the human intelligence to develop the power of the soul, the power of virtue in the world, to strengthen the vice. But this has to be done also with working hard to train one's mind, to go in the opposite direction. It needs a lot of work. So today maybe there'll be time for questions, we'll have them afterwards. But I want to say that one of the ways of doing it is to learn the oral tradition, and to learn it with intensity. So I've said it quite often, I want all the students, to prepare, learn the Chavuta, and to get into learning. And I feel that this study of one of the greatest moralists for human beings altogether that ever produced classical works, one of the greatest was Moshe Chaim Luzzatto. It's part of the Just. There's a shir on it, which you can join in, but you also learn it yourselves. We've got it available in English commentaries. And the work we're doing now is really how to stretch one's mind through learning Gemara, because learning Gemara will also improve a person's character. It will teach him to discipline his mind, to ask questions and find answers. Well, that's the way a person really makes progress. We're just reading a text, not good enough. It's got to learn a text. So that's why I chose this work, which is called the Derech HaKedusha, to say the way of Torah. The way of Torah, really, it's called Derech HaKodesh. The introduction is the path of holiness found in the sea of the Talmud. That was the introduction which we started on this work. And now we go into if you look at page 26 and 27, where we got up to, and there he goes into people call it the Talmudic dialectic. But it's not just dialectic, it's not just discussing things which, just for the sake of sharpening the mind. It's sharpening the mind, all connected with the moral teachings of the Torah, directly or indirectly. So, I think you might still have some copies of this, page 27, 26 and 27, and you can have it. If you don't have it here. You give them up.
2627.
2627. And also, if anyone wants an extra chart
Thank you.
on the way of the Torah, you can also have it.
Thank you.
It's up in the notice book. So we already actually went over this page, but I'll just mention it briefly again. Perhaps you can share the page.
Sure can.
Yeah, there's even more than one page here. So these are two together. Yeah. Possible to share? Can you share? I'll just say, I'm just going to read this page in English, I've done it in Hebrew. In every section of the entire Gemara, the discussion is built from 7 major elements of the dialogue and debate: statement, question, answer, contradiction, proof, difficult resolution. And these are definitions. Statement, a person states a single idea. Question, one person asks another person to provide a point of information. Answer, the person asks responds to the question. Now, my suggestion is, therefore, I've said that a few times, you all have a Gemara in which you can make the signs. Because, you know, to understand Gemara, you've got to recognize it's not just like reading a text in English, even in Rashi. It's question and answer. You've got to distinguish between the two to really understand what it's all about. So these days you can make punctuation marks, question mark, and the check as an answer. It'll make it much easier for you. And also to make a comma and a full stop. If you have an unpunctuated Gemara. And the punctuation you can find out. There are a few editions of a Shas Gemara without English, which has vowels and punctuation marks, which you can use, or you can use Art Scroll. But these days, it's quite true that in earlier times, in order to learn Gemara, one was forced to have a very good teacher and to learn for a few years to get into the question, answer, and statement system of thinking. But many of us, we start late, and you want to take a crash course. So then it's doubly important to make use of the enormous number of learning aids that exist today. To make use of them. Then anyway, contradiction. But that's there's a different person asking a question, he wants to know the answer. There's a different type of question, which is putting forward a contradiction.
Steer.
To a statement. The person makes a statement, somebody comes up. I've got an opposing source, which contradicts your statement. And then we have proof. The person presents solid evidence from which the truth of a statement or idea is made apparent. Now, if you've got photocopies, you can put here. Memre is just to say or mamar. Yeah? For example, or mamar means so-and-so said. Is a true statement, either based on logic or based on tradition. She'ela is introduced by the word boilahu. He asked a question. Abaya asked Rabbah. So it says, Boy Abaya le Rabbah. He asked him a question. To Shuvah, he gave an answer. Stira is generally expressed through Reminhu. That means a person makes a declaration or comes to a conclusion, comes up with somebody else, and he throws at him. He throws at him let's say, throws at him a stone that knocks down his statement from another sort. Raya is he brings a proof. Proof who's right. It's a debate. One says this is so, another opposes him, then certain person brings a proof. Which is generally just Toshama, come in here, bring you a proof from an authoritative opinion. Okay. So this will go over to the next page. And here I've got more copies. I've got enough copies for everybody. Page 28. Please. You've got 28. Here, can you give them out? Everybody have a copy. 28. 28. And now we come to Kasha. Kasha is a difficulty. The person points out something untrue, unpleasing in the statement or idea. Teros is an answer to the Kasha, which takes away the problem raised against a statement or idea. Is a teros. The word teros today is also used as an excuse. You accuse a person of doing something wrong, and then he says, I also have a question on what you're doing. So the other person says, I've got an excuse. I'm not guilty. I'm taking away your criticism of what I'm doing. But in a debate, so you have a kasha and a teros. So it said, Teros shetusara kushya min hamama. The kasha is taken away from the statement, asher huksha alav, which this statement, the person made a difficulty in it, or minadea, or the kasha is taken away from his opinion. Each one of these 7 different types of statements in a logical discussion can be subdivided into other parts. And they'll be explained with the help of heaven. It's necessary that you should understand. All this give and take, the discussion, nosad al yesodot rishonim, is based upon basic principles. In logic, one calls it a priori. A priori means that which comes first foundations. Where are they found? They're found in the nature of our minds, of human intelligence. Asher alpihem, on the basis of them, of their mouth literally, on the basis of these principles, yitnaheg, he will direct his behavior lahavin mama, to understand a statement asher yomer, which is made, or a kabel der minadeot, and to accept an opinion amongst the opinions, or lachisham, or to deny their truth. He said there's 2 types, he divides it into. One is statements, which let's say a person knows by tradition, not his opinion. It brings a statement from, let's say from the Chumash, from the Nevi'im Ketuvim, or it brings a statement, a later Tana from earlier Tana, on Amora from a Tana. What's the difference, let me ask you, between Tana and Amora?
Tana is from the Mishnah, and from the Gemara.
Tana is from the period until Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the Tanaim, and then the later scholars are known as Amoraim. Tana means someone who repeats the tradition. Amoraim, they explain them. So the Mishnah, and also the same applies to Braitot, are mainly sources that go back generations. Like the Mishnah we say in the morning, is Yom Koman, the Mishnah. And the Braita comes from the similar period of Rabbi Ishmael, which gives even further logical types of deductions that can be used to extend the power of the oral tradition to apply to all types of situations. To continue in the text, Ki hinei ala yesod ha'eleh, so he said the basis of all these foundations is really to extend one's intelligence, to think about the truth, either of a statement by tradition or an opinion that's brought forward, which is based upon the logic of a certain scholar. On this basis, we build up all the questions and the answers, urayot, the proofs, but the chiyot, and the rejection of the proofs. V'chein kol she'ar ha'chalakim, including also all the other parts, hanivchanin bo, which can be tested through these means. Now, he gives a derech mashal, he brings an example. I don't know if all of you have learned. If you learned the Mishnah of the first chapter, Brachot, so I'll quote it more in full. It says, "Hakoreh et hashma, v'lo hishmiya le'oznav, yatsa yidei chovato." So, the Mishnah states, and we have been reading, I think nearly all of you have been involved now in learning the first Mishnah of the Gemara, which deals with which time you read the Shema. Now, it says, the sage Shema means listen, Shema Yisrael. So what if the person is by himself?
Saying it for himself.
He also says Shema Yisrael. Now, is it enough to think it, just to read it? It doesn't say to read it. Shem Elokeinu Echad, you've got to say it. And to hear it, either you have to hear it from someone else, or if you're saying it yourself, you've got to hear what you're saying. Are you drinking this?
That's for you.
What? What?
That's for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name.
No. Now, when a person reads, you can read something without saying it at all. A lot of our reading, we don't open our mouth, but open our eyes and open our mind. Since you, let's say you're by yourself, it good enough just to read the Shema without pronouncing it?
No.
You fulfill the mitzvah or not? Don't fulfill it?
No, it's like Karat Shema, like you know, korei someone, like you're calling it out.
What happens if you read it and you say it so quietly that you can't hear it?
No, you have to hear it. It's to call out.
So then a deaf person, he doesn't fulfill his mitzvah, he
A
doesn't
deaf person is immune from mitzvahs. He doesn't need to do any mitzvahs.
Well, no, not so simple.
Deaf and mute.
The reason why, but the reason why a deaf person is freed from mitzvot is because he hasn't got proper developed understanding, to be able to develop his intellect. But what happens if there's a deaf person who's been trained to develop his mind to a high level?
It's an elective, no?
Yes?
It's an elective.
So then, he should fulfill mitzvah. Not such a simple matter. In fact, one of our students, they had a baby that had some injection in the hospital,
Right.
which made him blind, deaf, and mute.
Injection.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And perhaps even you've heard of it.
No, yeah. I've
Well,
heard of
Carlman Samuels was one of our early Talmidim, and his wife, after 3 years ago, married, very, very fine products of the yeshiva. They had to look after this child. And they're the founders of Shalva. You've heard of Shalva? Which is a home for children
yeah.
with great defects. And their son, Yossi, so he became world famous because he's highly intelligent. He speaks with sign language. And they took him to Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, perhaps you've heard of him, to discuss also questions of his bar mitzvah and so on. So he said, well, he's like Helen Keller. You've all heard of Helen Keller. He's been able to develop his intelligence. He was a very intelligent person. And here they have I think now they're building a new place because it's grown a lot. But
How do you call it?
the Rome Shalva, it's called Shalva, means tranquility. It's down in the bottom of Hanoch, where they look after all types of children who have severe disabilities. So anyway, the din is, the Mishnah says, Hakoreh et Hashema, v'lo yishmi'a lo, he couldn't hear himself. He nevertheless, Yatza yedei chovato, he's fulfilled his duty, the Mishnah says. It's the Mishnah on page 15 of Prophets. He has fulfilled his duty. If he reads it, can't hear himself, yeah, that means he so the Gemara says the expression used in the Mishnah, hakoreh, which means someone who read it. It doesn't say that ein tzarich lashmi'a l'ozno. It doesn't say in the Mishnah that a person has no need to pronounce the words. It says if he read it without pronouncing the words, you couldn't hear what he was whispering. Perhaps he didn't whisper it at all. He still fulfilled his duty. So this Mishnah was Hakorei Eved in. What's in mean? In Aramaic,
Could be yes.
means yes. In the Gemara, it's like hen. Hen is used in the Tanakh for yes. In the Aramaic, the H is dropped. In a lot of Aramaic, the H is dropped. But not in Aramaic, in many languages. I mean, it's well known, let's say in British English, the Cockney dialect, they drop the H. Yeah. What's the H? It's really the, phonetically speaking, the consonant H. He. Yeah. He is H-E. Why is it called H? It should be called H. It's a hey. But the hey is dropped, as happens in very many languages. People, because hey is a very slightly heard consonant, so if you talk a lot in the easy way, you drop the H's, the H's.
French also.
Pardon?
In French also.
French also. Yes, you've got an example in French. The H is dropped.
Homage.
Pardon?
Homage.
Fromage is cheese.
No. Homage.
What is it?
Instead of homage, homage. There's lots of
What's homage?
there's lots of accents in French where they don't pronounce the H.
Yes?
What?
He's saying in the French language, the letter which is pronounced hey, or called H in English, what's it called in French? A, B, C, D, E, G, G, H. But H is not, all the letters, the way you give words to the letters of the alphabet, they all begin with the correct letter of the alphabet, except H in English. You don't say H. Yeah? Shows us right away that when you come to the letter H, it's often dropped in many languages. So in French, it's frequent. Yeah? Well, what do you say? You say what? Homage instead of homage? Okay, so anyway, hakorei de'evet in lechatchila lo. So sages say the Mishnah's language is extremely precise. There's a hakorei de'evet in lechatchila. What's lechatchila mean?
After the fact.
No, that's called b'di'avad, once it's been done. What's lechatchila connected with in the Hebrew? Tchila. So lechatchila, to start with, lo. To start with, you should say the Shema and hear what you're saying. So hine ze nosad al ma shemitzrayeh b'sechlenu. This is based upon what is the image created in our intelligence, milashon zeh, from this expression, shekavanat omro hayta ledaber b'mi shekva kara. The intention is hakorei, the one who's already read. So di'avad, that means it's been done already. Di means which, like sheep. Avad has been done. If you read it without pronouncing it, to hear it, you fulfill the duty of the Shema. Now then it brings from a different Mishnah. It says, Hakol shochatin, all can do shechita. So it describes then, the Mishnah says, anyone may perform shechita as the ritual slaughter, and the slaughter is kosher. That means, even if he was, says, chedesh short of a katan, the Mishnah says, once it's been done, the shechita, but hakol shokten means even to start with. The Mishnah got the hakol shokten. It does not say hashochet. So it doesn't say chei yeshod nashim hashochet, כשר, יצא ידי חובתו. הכל שוחטין. Everybody is permitted to go and do the shechita, as long as there's someone who makes sure that it's done correctly. I mean, so really there's a whole discussion in the Gemara. Why should everybody's shechita be fine? They say it only applies if there's a gadol or mid al gaba, if there's a person who's over bar mitzvah and definitely has complete chiyuv of duty to do shechita, and he supervises it. Hakol shoftin is an expression lechatchila, kitev alashon moreh lanu kach, because the expression used teaches us this. So then the Gemara asks the question on this expression hakol. If you say hakol, everybody can do something, means it means to start with, everybody can do shechita lechatchila, not like kriyat shema, where lechatchila you've got to pronounce it. Now you know that. On Pesach, you're not allowed to have chometz. And what does one have to do on the night which precedes the Seder night?
Checking for chametz.
One has to check the house and make sure there's no chometz left. And put it aside to nullify it and burn it the next day. Now, whom can you rely upon to go and search the house for chometz?
Someone who's obligated to do it. Has a chiyuv.
Yeah, yes. So it's a kol hanemanim.
Can't trust.
Everyone is believed. Let's say if you can trust another person. Let's say you're renting a house for Pesach, not your house. So you ask the owner of the house, you're only coming for Pesach. Often happens, people come, they come, let's say, from abroad to Eretz Israel, and they book an apartment. But they only arrive Erev Pesach. So they have to ask the owner of the apartment, did you really search it for chometz? Maybe there's chometz here. So you can rely. He says you can rely you can rely on everybody. If he'll tell you it's been checked, you can rely upon it. So on this, the Gemara asks the question, on this Mishnah, why did you say Hakol Neman? It should have given a different expression. If everybody's believed, it should have said, you assume a Jewish home belongs to a Jew, and we're talking about the time when the majority of Jews, they kept all the dinim. Today, there isn't such a chazok anymore. But we say, Kol habatim, all the houses, b'chezkat bedukim meboile. It should have, the Gemara says, it should have expressed it, not just hakol nemanim, it should have said in a better way, that all, you can rely upon the fact that all Jewish apartments have been checked. There should be no chometz there. So therefore, the Gemara discusses the question, is it because we believe everybody? Or is it because we assume there's a chazakah? The chazakah is an assumption based upon majority of behavior. So let's say in a Torah observant community, you assume that the houses owned by the Jews, if they give them to somebody else, on the day before the Seder night, that they have been checked. You have page 30 as well? Next page. Print it out for you or not?
I think so.
Page 30? 31? You do have it?
Yeah. I know there's no
Yeah.
numbers.
Next page.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Because it goes together.
Sure it does.
In other words, there the Gemara asks that the phrase Hakol Nemanim More Hiyot Hadin Ahu Amuz Kasham Talui Biyot Hakol Nemahapatika. The expression in the Mishnah implies that why do we rely upon it? Because we rely upon people. Everyone is trusted. So they have to tell you. If the person says, the owner says it's been checked, then you assume it's been checked. If, however, you say, we assume that in a Torah observing community, all the hours are checked, even if you didn't ask him, it should be all right. So the Gemara there brings a certain difficulty. It is based upon the chazakah. Now what the chazakah means, that unless there's been a change, you assume things are as they were before. That means if you've got a basic assumption, or even you know that that it's the way of all people to do it this way, then you can rely upon it. The fact that all are believed doesn't answer the question. All are believed, so therefore people have to tell you. If, however, you say that all houses in this Jewish Torah observant community have the legal status of having checked for 11,
Believed.
then even if they don't tell you anything, it should be all right. והטבע מורה לנו, כשנרצה להגיד את העניין, לא נאמרהו אלא בלשון כזה כל הבתים בחזק הפתוחים. To put forward this concept, it should have said in the Mishnah, all houses, unless you know that a comet has fallen in, it's been some of it, or the people, if let's say there's no chazakah, it's baduk, if there was nobody there, if there's nobody there for some time, let's say the owner was away for a few months, it's not b'chezkat baduk. It's only b'chezkat baduk if the owners were around. But you don't have to ask them. That will be the difference in practice. So from this we see there's a principle of language. The phrase "all are believed" tells us the desired laws depend upon the factor that everyone is believed of checking the 11. However, the presumption of the Talmud is that the desired law is dependent upon another factor, that all houses have a legal status that have been checked. Express this properly, it should say directly, it shouldn't say all are believed. Does all the houses have a legal status? So you don't even have to ask them. So he gives this example. If you study these questions, the answers, you'll find they're founded upon such principles. Which are matters which are deeply inherent in the nature of intellectual understanding. that these are a priori logical principles which exist in intelligence. You don't actually have to study this, because your mind itself dictates logical necessity. In other words, the Torah gives us the ability to think logically. And that's what you find in these forms of deductions which take place in different sections of the Gemara.
When you say all are believed, that means you have to ask, no?
Yeah, that's the difference. That's the practical difference. You can believe them if they tell you. And if they don't tell you, you can't, you don't know.
There's nothing to believe.
Yeah. You can't rely on the chazakah, it means there's no chazakah that the houses have been checked. There's no basic assumption. So you've got any questions? Okay, so we'll deal with this further next time.